Hello everyone and welcome back to another video in my highest rated series. Today we are going to be taking a look at the top 20 highest rated DC Comics animated movies. I had to slash the list to almost half because even though the original list only contained 20 ratings, there were multiple movies that were rated the same. Even in this list there are many duplicates. Now to a few rules. This list excludes the animated Lego movies, be it direct-to-DVD or theatrical, as well as animated short films like DC Showcase, Catwoman, Green Arrow, Phantom Stranger, Superman / Shazam, Return of Black Adam, and more. Starting off, we have a total of 8 films. Yes, you heard me right, 8 films. This was the reason I had to shorten the list so much. I can't talk about every movie, but I will talk about at least one movie from each segment. Let's start with the first movie on the list, Suicide Squad: Hell to Pay. Suicide Squad: Hell to Pay is the 10th installment in the DC animated movie universe, which lasted from 2013 with the release of Justice League: The Flashpoint Paradox to 2020 with Justice League Dark: Apocalypse War. Hell to Pay released in April 2018 and is the only movie in which the events of the movie is directly connected to Flashpoint Paradox, and is the first Suicide Squad movie in the DC AMU. The movie follows Deadshot, Harley Quinn, Killer Frost, and the rest of Task Force X as they try to get their hands on the Get Out of Hell free card for Amanda Waller. The movie features the antagonists Reverse Flash, Vandal Savage, Knockout, and Scandal Savage. Movies joined by Hell to Pay include the movies Teen Titans: Trouble in Tokyo 2006, Superman Batman Apocalypse 2010, Batman vs Robin 2015, Justice League Dark 2017, Teen Titans: The Judas Contract 2017, Superman vs the Elite 2012, and 2015's Justice League Gods and Monsters, which follows an alternate universe where Batman is the vampire Kirk Landstrom, better known as the Man-Bat in the main universe. Wonder Woman is a new god named Becca from the planet New Genesis, who fled to Earth after her family destroyed Darkseid's forces at her wedding to Orion. And then there's Superman, the son of General Zod and Lara, whose rocket landed in the country of Mexico, where it was found by the Guerrera family. All these movies have a rating of 7.0. In March of 1998, only a year after Batman and Robin came out, Batman and Mr. Freeze: Sub-Zero released. A planned tie-in to the Batman and Robin movie Sub-Zero was delayed and restructured due to poor reception of the comedy that was Batman and Robin. It ended up becoming a tie-in to the Batman animated series and a standalone sequel to Batman: Mask of the Phantasm. I believe a part of the movie takes place before the animated series episode Heart of Ice, in which Victor Freeze already has become the infamous villain Mr. Freeze and has already placed his wife into cryonic stasis. Nora Freeze is or was the beloved wife of Victor Freeze, who through a tragic set of circumstances inspired his transformation into a villain who would become Mr. Freeze. Nora Freeze was diagnosed with a terminal and uncurable disease, and unwilling to let her die, Freeze places her in a cryonic stasis until a cure is found. One of, if not the most tragic villain origin stories from Batman's rogues gallery, he may be one of the few villains we, the audience, can empathize with. Batman and Mr. Freeze Sub-Zero has a rating of 7.0, along with Green Lantern First Flight, Superman Batman Public Enemies, a favorite of mine. Batman and Superman practically being best friends is always a good time. Batman vs Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Batman The Long Halloween Part 2 have 7.1 as well. Till this day, Wonder Woman is still the greatest Wonder Woman movie ever produced. Released in 2009, it follows Diana, the Princess of Themyscira, as she battles it out with the god of war himself, Ares. A millennia ago, Ares waged war against the Amazons, but defeated by the queen of the Amazons, Hippolyta, he was locked up for eternity until a young Amazon, or relatively speaking, as Amazons are pretty much granted with very long life, she broke him out of prison, letting him once again wage war upon the world. Justice League Crisis on Two Earths is the second film in the Justice League animated film series, and is loosely based on the 2000's Grant Morrison GLA Earth 2 graphic novel. Justice League War and Batman The Long Halloween Part 1 joined the two movies with a rating of 7.2. So recently I watched Batman Year One and it is a phenomenal movie. Batman Year One is a 2011 direct-to-video animated adaptation of the 1987 story arc of the same name that was originally published in Batman issue 404 to 407 by Frank Miller and David Mazzucchelli. Bruce Wayne returns home to Gotham City from training abroad in martial arts, manhunting, and science for the past 12 years, and James Gordon moves to Gotham with his pregnant wife Barbara after a transfer from Chicago. Both are swiftly acquainted with the corruption and violence of Gotham City, with Gordon witnessing his partner Detective Flash assaulting a teen for fun. As the title suggests, this movie follows the first year of Bruce Wayne as Batman, kinda like the 2022 movie The Batman, only that movie follows Batman in the second year. Early Batman is bound to make mistakes, but apparently this is something people just can't accept for some reason. Spoiler alert for the death of Superman, Superman actually dies in the movie. Yes, I know, a shocker. This is the 11th installment in the DC animated movie universe and was released in 2018. A subsequent sequel, Reign of the Superman, was released less than a year later in 2019. The death of Superman ultimately finds Superman in a fight to the finish when the Man of Steel becomes the only hero who can stand in the way of the monstrous creature known as Doomsday and his unstoppable rampage of destruction. Batman Year 1 and Death of Superman have a rating of 7.3 out of 10. Probably the second best animated Justice League movie to date, Justice League Doom is a 2012 movie inspired by the Tower of Babel storyline by Mark Waid. The Justice League is under attack from within and only one man can stop it, Batman. Vandal Savage recruited Mirror Master to infiltrate the Batcave to steal Batman's confidential files on the Justice League members' weaknesses, and it is up to Batman to stop it. Batman Assault on Arkham is a direct-to-DVD animated movie set in the Batman Arkham video game series 2 years before Batman Arkham Asylum. Batman Assault on Arkham, despite the title, is more of a Suicide Squad movie than a Batman movie. It follows the exploits of the aforementioned Suicide Squad under the leadership of Amanda Waller and field leader Deadshot as they try to break into Arkham Asylum to retrieve top secret plans stolen by the Riddler. The plan goes south when Harley Quinn breaks the Joker out of prison. The two movies are rated 7.4 out of 10. And let me just say, Batman Assault on Arkham should have been the Suicide Squad live-action movie adaptation. Maybe the unlikeliest of movies that DC has produced in recent memory, Scooby-Doo and Batman the Brave and the Bold is not the first crossover between Scooby-Doo and Batman, but I believe it to be the first one in modern times. The movie came out a whole 7 years after the series ended. The Scooby Gang, or as they are officially known as Mystery Inc., team up with Batman, Black Canary and his gang of detectives to solve one of Batman's all-solved cases. Scooby-Doo and Batman the Brave and the Bold has a rating of 7.6. Batman Beyond Return of the Joker, or Batman of the Future Return of the Joker as it is known in Europe and Australia, is one of the most disturbing Batman movies yet it is also one of the greatest. 20 years into the future, Bruce Wayne is no longer Batman. Old and retired, he finds a new ward who would this time act as Batman in his place. The movie was rife with controversy upon its release due to being censored. Fan outrage ultimately led to an uncut version that was extended by 3 minutes, which was released 1 year later. I'm not going to say anything more about this movie in case one of you has somehow not seen it yet. If you haven't seen it, this is probably one of those movies I would heavily recommend. Justice League Dark Apocalypse War is the last movie in the DC animated movie universe, which was based upon the controversial New 52. Darkseid is planning his biggest invasion of Earth yet, but the Justice League is prepared. Or so it was supposed to be. The plan fails disastrously and leaves the multiple heroes either dead, captured or incapacitated, and Earth is in chaos. It is up to the remaining heroes and villains of Earth to take the fight to Darkseid's apocalypse. This animated epic is a must-watch just for the sheer chaos factor of it. Return of the Joker and Apocalypse War have a rating of 7.7. Batman Mask of the Phantasm is the first and only theatrical film released in Batman the Animated Series universe. An all-time classic, it is divided between the present and the past. In the past, a young Bruce Wayne, not yet Batman, though still a crime fighter, falls in love with a young woman. Now happy, and someone who he can come home to every night, he wants to live the crime-fighting life in the past. Conflicted as he feels obligated to help the city of Gotham, he must choose between a life of happiness or life in solitude and darkness. A fantastic movie in every sense of the word. It is surprising to me that The Mask of the Phantasm only has a rating of 7.8. It should be a lot higher in my opinion. At least on Rotten Tomatoes, people and critics alike seem to love the movie as it has an 8.5 critic score and an 88% audience score. The longer time goes on, the Dark Knight Returns movie seems to be going from loved to hated, at least according to Twitter. Apparently, with Batman vs Superman using Returns as a reference, it is now labeled as a bad Batman adaptation because people cannot tolerate a Batman that kills, even if there's a reasonable, well-crafted story of events behind it. Somehow, there's only one right way to adapt Batman despite his 80-year history of various different adaptations. They even said the same thing about 2022's The Batman. It is a bad adaptation because Batman made a mistake, and he is for some reason not allowed to make mistakes, even if it's only in the second year. I feel really bad for those people because they must really hate Batman the Animated Series then. A classic for all ages, The Dark Knight Returns Part 1 has a rating of 7.9. I'm not just kidding, it's not for all ages. I believe it's R-rated. Batman Under the Red Hood is a 2010 direct-to-video animated film based loosely on Batman Under the Red Hood story arc from the comics. Batman's sidekick Jason Todd, the second Robin, has been captured by the Joker and is tied up in a Bosnian warehouse in Sarajevo. Beaten almost to an inch of his life by a crowbar by the Joker, Jason almost manages to escape. Unfortunately for Todd, Joker locked the exit door and a time bomb was placed in the warehouse. An explosion happens and Robin perishes in the explosion. Spoiler alert from here on out, or I guess it was a spoiler before as well, but I believe everyone knows about the story. Jason Todd comes back with a vengeance resurrected in the Lazarus Pit by the demon's head himself, Ra's al Ghul. Batman Under the Red Hood is the first of only 3 movies to have a rating of 8.0 or more. Justice League Flashpoint Paradox is the greatest Justice League movie ever created, and it is unfortunate that the DCEU doesn't adapt the greatest animated movies to the big screen. I can only imagine what could have been if it was as well structured as the DCEU. Released in 2013 as a start to a new universe known as the DC Animated Movie Universe, it has no direct connection to any of the movies coming out after it, excluding Suicide Squad Hell to Pay, which events tied directly to the Flashpoint movie, despite taking place in the same universe as all the other New 52 movies. It seems very strange to me that Justice League War doesn't reference Flashpoint Paradox at all, despite coming right after it, being what I would consider to be a direct, moderate spiritual sequel or successor to the events of Flashpoint. Justice League The Flashpoint Paradox has a rating of 8.1. The Dark Knight Returns Part 2 is the best animated movie DC has produced as of yet, excluding Lego. It was released back in 2013 and featuring the voice talents of Peter Weller, Michael Emerson, David Selby, Conan O'Brien, Mark Valley, and Ariel Winter, along with many others like Paget Brewster, who portrayed Emily Prentiss on Criminal Minds, a must-watch show, the legendary Greg Griffin or Grady Lyle, Tara Strong, the woman of many voices, and Yuri Lowenthal, who voiced Peter Parker in the Insomniac Spider-Man games for PS4 and PS5. Batman The Dark Knight Returns Part 2 is the second in a 2-part direct-to-DVD animated adaptation of the 1986 story of the same name, written by Frank Miller. The Dark Knight Returns Part 2 has a rating of 8.3. So there you have it, the 12 highest rated animated movies based on DC Comics. Have you seen any of these films? If you have, please let me know your favorite 3 movies based on DC. Don't forget to like if you enjoyed this video, and also consider subscribing for more lists like these. And thank you so much for watching, and goodbye.